good. No, I fucked up my back, but everything else is fine. Yeah, just don't put your good socks on. She's pregnant.
She was trying to bring in pressure on while standing.
That was a mistake.
People don't put their socks on.
I do all the time.
I never do. I would follow her.
Well, no. Yeah. I'm paying the price. I was like putting this up on. I was like, oh, something bad is happening.
Good evening. I'd like to call the February 4th meeting to order. Everyone please rise for a pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's get it on.
All right, I'd like to thank everyone for coming tonight. So, in anticipation for the public hearing for tonight, we did seek out to get a bigger venue, but we weren't able to get the venue in time for this meeting. However, because we have so many people that showed up to the meeting tonight, and we had to turn people away, under the open meetings law, we really are required to have, if we anticipate a large meeting, we're required to have a larger room for that meeting. So therefore, at the advice of our council, it would make sense to have a public hearing tonight where there are people outside waiting to be heard and to listen to the public hearing. Therefore, since we are beyond our capacity, and especially with the fire code and the occupancy level, what I'll do is I'll entertain a motion to leave the public hearing open until next month. We secured the Hurleyville Performing Arts Center, which has room for about 250 people, for next month, exactly 1 month from tonight, March 4th at 6 p.m. This will give us a venue to be able to hear everybody, and in between now and then, we're still taking written comments from everyone and be able to read those into the minutes as well. We hope that we're able to fit everyone into the room tonight. If we could fit everyone into the room and nobody, would be left out, then we could hold the public hearing tonight and possibly close it, leave it open, whatever the case may be. But because we cannot get everyone that wants to come to the public hearing to fit into this room legally under the fire codes, the most prudent thing would be for us to push off the public hearing to a night that we could get a larger venue for everyone, the entire community to come out and speak. So therefore, I will entertain a motion to move the public hearing, or to keep the public hearing open until an in-person public hearing next month at 6 p.m. on March 4th at the Hurleyville Performing Arts Center, where we'll have a proper public hearing that the entire community can be heard. I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. So we're not going to hold a public hearing tonight. We will keep it open for another month for written comment, and we will have an in-person public hearing in a month from now, so that we can get all of your comments and be able to digest it with enough time for us to implement.
We just have to make an announcement that we may not be able to have the Zoom option there, so it may be in person only.
Right, so just full disclosure, we may not be able to set up the Zoom, the OWL in that location if we cannot get good connectivity. So it may very well be an in-person only without the ability to participate by Zoom. All right, and we will put that out for public notice for everyone, for all our publications, so that everyone is fully informed as to what's going on. So tonight we will hold regular business. We're going to have regular public comment, and but anything with regard to the zoning amendments, we will have that public hearing on March 4th at 6 p.m. Hurleyville Performing Arts Center. I don't know the exact address off the top of my head, but we will advertise it for the entire community to be able to participate. Okay. All right, so with that, I'm gonna move on to, I don't have a supervisor's report tonight. Paula, do we have any correspondence?
Did everybody see that? Agree. I got, yes. That's what we just going over. Yep. What did you say?
Do we have any correspondence?
But I just like to mention that we did get everybody's, emails, and they have been filed, and sent to all of the town board and the attorneys.
So with regard to the zoning, amendment comments?
Yep.
Yeah, so all written comments that we've been getting, for, whether for or against the zoning amendments, either get funneled through Jen Edwards, Paula Grogan, or other town officials that get then forwarded on to the entire board, so the whole board could read your comments as well.
And held on record.
Yeah, and it's important that all your comments, whether verbal or written, be part of the official record. So at this point, I will, if anyone wants to stay for the whole meeting, you can. Those who want to leave, may leave. I suggest you do it now so that we don't have a lot of disturbances, people coming in and out.
Good to see you. Hey, Jack.
You have to go around the police station.
Alright, one more minute so that everyone could find their seat and get settled in.
I was gonna be big and fat.
You're still working here, right?
Yeah, I don't know
At the
about.
door, they'll be more excited later. Good to see you. All right.
Okay. Alright, so next up on our
Can we hold up
agenda
1 second?
Yeah.
Can we do a new sign-in sheet then?
for public comment.
If anybody wants to do a public comment, because this would kind of be null then.
Well, we're already up to public comments, so I guess anyone that wants to speak, you can, have to line up.
No, I'm gonna keep it, but I'm just saying.
Come on up.
You can stay signed up, but I'm gonna sign you up for a different reason.
Yeah, come
All right.
You let me in?
State your name,
Another 30 people that storm in.
and you are representing yourself in person.
In person. That's not it.
We know it's him. He's infamous.
Is Mr. Carey first up?
Well, yeah, because I'm starting a new list.
Okay.
Okay, does anybody else want to sign in?
To speak during.
That-
Go ahead.
Not about
He can
the
talk
zoning,
about these.
Not about the zoning.
right.
It's public comments. Yeah, if anybody wants to sign in.
No,
No, you're presenting.
you have a presentation.
Come on.
All right, so,
Before we start, I just want to give the disclaimer to everyone. If you have, everyone is allotted up to 3 minutes to speak. It's not a question and answer, but if you do have questions about anything on the agenda, feel free to ask your questions. We will write them down. And then when I get to the agenda item, I will address it. If you have questions that's not on the agenda, it's just general questions, just leave your information with the clerk, and we will get back to you with those answers. All right. Go ahead.
10 seconds, slow, 10 more seconds.
I got it.
Give him back to 10 seconds.
All right, I'll be real quick. First, it's a little bit pertaining to some of that zoning stuff going on, but the real reason why I'm up here is that our rural water in the town of Fallsburg really needs to be looked at. What our levels are, what we have available. I was at a planning board meeting where a development was being proposed to go in with their own private wells. We already have one in Loch Sheldrake, and we're looking maybe, they're wanting another one. And high-density housing on 3 or 4 rural wells, what is that going to do to the water supply in that area? The thing that really spurred me to come here to talk to you about that was because one of the developers said to me in that meeting, don't worry about it, there's plenty of water. Well, there's not, and I know a lot of people who run out of water. I'm blessed to have a very good well that 10 feet before we stopped drilling, I finally hit good water. But a lot of people in this town have wells that recharge at 5 gallons per minute, and that's barely enough to keep up. So I really feel that the town needs to push on the county, needs to push on the feds. I think it's the USGS Geological Survey does it, to do a survey in the county, because it's not just Fallsburg, and you guys should be talking to Liberty and all the other towns that are seeing this development and saying, hey, what is our water capacity? At what point do we tap out? Because these are not endless water supplies that are underneath us in this rock. And that's the only other thing I have for you. I'm a little concerned under the open meetings law, because a lot of people were turned away if they did want to see the whole meeting. They can't. So just something to think about next time, maybe canceling the meeting earlier or changing it, making a notice. Thank you.
Thanks, Peter.
Thank you.
Mary Adams.
Good evening. I just wanted to bring up a point that came up, has come up a few times actually in the last few weeks. And it's regarding people saying that the developments bring in the tax money that the town needs to basically thrive. And I just want to put up a little bit of research on that, which is that it's pretty common knowledge that for every resident, or, one resident, if they spend $1, the town spends at least $1.90, and that's old data, so it's probably even more than that. So this idea or model that if the more developments we have, the more tax money we have, the more we can thrive, is, I think, not accurate. And in fact, just let's look at where 1,900 units are now slated to be built in the next couple of years. That'll bring in at least 7,500, could actually with visitors and family and all that be 9,000 people. That wear and tear on our town structure, roads, Spectrum, Verizon, NYSEG, it's way more than what one resident brings, or even most of those residents bring. They don't actually bring a lot of economy to our town. So I don't think that's a good model. I think our model should be ecotourism, more ag, more farms, less developments. And I'm sure when the comp plan was made, I don't think most of them thought, wow, 11 individuals could buy enough land and build 1,900 units in a 2-mile radius. I doubt that was in anyone's mind, but that's what's happened, and that's what's going to continue to happen with this short-term thinking. It's not long-term thinking, and it's not sustainable. So I know some of you know this, and I just wanted to put it forward in a verbal suggestion that we find other ways to bring our income. Thank you.
Thanks, Mary. Alice Camara.
This is totally another subject. I see on the,
You're fine. Go ahead.
I see on our agenda there's a resignation from Michael Scuderi in the water department. I would like to personally acknowledge Bobby McKinnon, who was the water department head, I guess, for many years, and he still spent his entire life, since I think he was 19, working for this town. And I don't remember hearing anything about it, I just happened to hear it from somebody else, that he had passed away recently of a heart attack. I just think he should be acknowledged for all the work he did. He used to come here, and he was the most interesting, excuse me, to the other department heads, the most interesting person who presented in front of the board. He was energetic, he was funny, and he probably worked himself to death, you know. But I'd like to see more of that, and with this resignation, I don't know if Michael Scuteri is the new department head, or is there a new department head? Could you announce it so we know? And whenever things like that happen, because it just seems like it's good PR to mention things like this in the news. Thank you.
Thanks, Mary.
No,
Is there anybody else who would, sorry, I do that all the time to you, I'm so sorry. Alice, is there anybody else who'd like to speak that is here in-house? Okay. Moshi, say your whole name, please.
Good evening, Moshe Atia here. Want to ask if it's possible for the upcoming public hearing for the zoning amendments, if we could try to have something through Zoom. There's a large amount of people that are not able to be there in person, and if we could try as hard as possible to have something on Zoom. Thank you.
Thank you, Moshi. Anybody else in-house? We're here.
Yeah.
Hi, what's your name, please?
My name is Edward T. Hall III, and there's just, at least on this subject, I'd love to agree with what was your name again?
Mary.
What Mary had just shared about how we could really have more of a sustainable vision of how we can grow the economy of our area without destroying the natural beauty, as well as imperiling the critical life support systems of our water. The fact that our farmers right now are losing their wells and their access to their water, that needs to be addressed. I'd say by the town board, like the pressures that are coming from that need to be considered and remedied, because those are harms. Those are things that if the development is destroying the well of a resident or a farm, that's something that we cannot ignore, and we have to build the capacity to make that, to counterbalance that at the very least, if there's any sense of planning towards increased development, which I would say there are good models. My background is in behavioral economics and global policy, and the best policies that I've seen are towards is more or less to decrease waste and concentrate development where it's, you know, within village, town settings. And I think we also really need to affirm and recognize the history of the freedmen history of our area. African American farmers that have been building this area for a very long time, but our local economy has not been maintaining that land ownership, and I think that needs to be a key, absolutely historical, present, and future necessity for the heritage of our area and our legacy. Outside of that, there is a secondary issue of a landfill proposal that is outside of Sullivan, but within less than a mile of our border, and that's on Milk Road. That's being proposed in Ulster County, and I think that really, I would encourage the board to take action that the harms from that proposed landfill be raised up, and our area be protected by the town board, because this landfill would deeply affect the water ecology, as well as all of the surrounding residents that include Sullivan County residents, as well as our economy here. So that's on Milk Road on 52. And there's a coalition of people that could ask me, or, you know, I'm sure that Michael might know some of the other folks that are coordinating that. So thank you for your time, and hopefully we can work together to prevent that and have a better future direction here that's sustainable.
Thank you, Edward.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Anybody online?
Yep.
I have AG. AG, could you tell us your full name? And unmute yourself. Hello? Nope, he's gone. Is there anybody else online? Nope. Nope, AG's back. You need to unmute yourself.
Okay, hello.
Okay. Could you state your name, please?
Yes, my name is Ari Bruna.
Go ahead, Ari.
Thanks again. Thanks again for taking the time and letting me speak up. I appreciate it. First, I want to thank the board again for addressing our concerns of our constituents. I've seen in the past meetings that people take legitimate concerns that this town has, like infrastructure problems, and the town, we're happy to have a town board that's addressing our crumbling infrastructure, and they're working very hard, tirelessly to upgrade the infrastructure, do the right thing. But using the problems that the town has and weaponizing it and using it for different reasons is not acceptable. So everyone understands there's a problem. The problem should be fixed, and not doing other things for this problem. That means telling camps they shouldn't exist, we shouldn't expand, or telling a bungalow stay operated, stay out of code because there's no water and sewer. Yes, there's a water sewer problem. It should be addressed. Now people have problems with their wells. Now we're modern America, 2025. In the ancient days, people had wells and had toilets in their backyards, and sewer systems in the backyard. This town is here for the people. Upgrade the sewer infrastructure, or upgrade the water infrastructure, make sure everyone has clean water, regulated water, make sure everyone has access to water and sewer. Be a modern, up-to-date 2025. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Ari. Thank you. Is there anybody else online, please? No.
Last chance for anyone in the public who want to speak?
Yeah, I reserve my time.
Yeah, come on, step up.
Or can I reserve it after Amanda speaks?
Well, then public comment will be closed. So this is the time for public comment. If you have any comments about anything on the agenda, ask or state it now, and we'll take notes. But we're not going to open up public comments after the discussion.
All right, no problem.
Oh, I do have some more online now.
You want to do that first?
No, go ahead.
No, you're
Oh,
up.
okay, sorry.
State your name and.
Ron Razin? Stewart? Ready? Amanda? To tell you the truth, I'm very disappointed in the way there's a proposal being presented to the town board. I'm offended, and Amanda harps on the fact that Roland is an African American. The question is why. We all know that. And in growing up in this town, we never looked at the color of one's skin. We were all members of this community regardless. When Amanda was skating competitively, we didn't look at her as a black skater. We supported her as a young girl with exceptional skills that was representing our town. I knew Roland longer than even Amanda. I remember when Roland came to South Fallsburg from Uniontown, Alabama, along with Landell and Dorothy Fields, Bertha and Simmy Williams, and Bruce Brothers. I was in 4th grade, and Roland would cross us at the school on Laurel Avenue with his gold front tooth with a star in it. We would then walk to the movie theater, and Carl Kaplan, the chief of police, would cross us there, and then George Dumpert would cross us at the corner drugstore so we could go to the synagogue for Hebrew school. The point I'm trying to make is the history of our town is disappearing year after year. The hotels, the bungalow colonies, even the lifelong residents are vanishing. The only thing that is left to keep any history is the names of the streets that have lasted through the age of time. If we're going to start renaming streets, I believe the town will be opening a Pandora's box with no end in sight. Do we rename Lake Street to Gavin DeGraw Boulevard like Elvis Presley Boulevard because Gavin lived there? How about Wildwood Drive, where Louise Claremont lives? She'll be 100 years old. She's a daughter of the American Revolution, whose great-great-grandfather was General Putnam, who fought alongside George Washington in the Revolutionary War, and Putnam County is named after. And everyone here, I'm sure, has heard the Academy Award-winning song, "Love is a Many Splendid Things." Sammy Fain, who wrote that, lived in the house that Larry Gibbs lives in next to the Gentleman's Club. That property was Fain Manor, and that Sammy Fain's father was the first cantor at the South Fallsburg Synagogue back in 1908. Steve Lungens, the longest-sitting DA in New York State. Robert Whitaker, who worked for President Clinton and was killed in a plane crash in Croatia. Brian Rogers, a Silver Star recipient from the Vietnam War. Harry Shapiro, a Fallsburg fireman who was killed in the line of duty. The list goes on and on. Amanda says that Roland was the first African-American lieutenant in the Sheriff's Department. So maybe the county should rename the driveway going into the Sheriff's Department after her father. That would be more fitting, or put a plaque in the vestibule of the Sheriff's Department so it can be seen when you walk in. Should we take down the plaque on the police station for Sammy Siegel and put one up for Simmy Williams, since he was the first African-American police chief? No one loved or respected your father more than me. My father has gone 20 years and a day doesn't go by that I don't listen or
Excuse me, I'm sorry, you have to follow the 3-minute rule. But I can put that in full if you want me to.
Yeah, that can get put into the minutes.
Yep.
So I do have Veronica online. Veronica, you can unmute. Veronica, you need to unmute yourself.
Okay, I'm unmuted.
Okay, what's your last name?
Castle. B-A-S-S, like Spain,
Yep.
I-L.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, I wanted to respond to the comment about the water issues. And I'd like to point out that, first of all, I've been a homeowner here since 1996. And I can remember like humongous snowstorms, and we just aren't having those anymore. So we are actually having, which is almost incredible to think about it given the history, but we're actually having drought conditions here, which I thought would absolutely never happen in this area with so many, lakes and things like that. But we're just not getting the snowfall that we had in years past. I can remember I was working in Monticello, trying to get home to South Fallsburg, and I was just praying to God I could get over that hill. You have to get over to get to South Fallsburg from Monticello. And it was really, really scary driving conditions. So we are not getting the snowfall. We are in a drought condition. So this idea that the water is just an easily solved issue is simply not the case. And I think the prognosis for the future is not looking good in terms of snowfall. I mean, even this winter, we've hardly had any snow, right? Compared to, those of us who have lived here, for decades, can appreciate how this has really changed around here. I just want to make that point that the water issue is the water tables are not being replenished. So, it's a big problem. And the other thing I'd like to bring out about the drinking water, the last time I got my water tested, the water was above the levels that New York State allows, which is already very lenient for these PFAs, the phthalates, which are in the water that are not safe to drink. We were already above what New York State allows, which was already above what other states and what the federal government recommends in terms of the level. So, there's two issues here. Number one, the abundance of water, number two, the quality of our drinking water. So I just like to make those comments. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Veronica.
Thank you.
All right, anyone else want to speak tonight, either online or in person?
Yep. I have Sacred Circle of Stones.
What was that?
Sacred Circle of Stones.
Hey, can you hear me now?
What's your name?
Ryan Mitro.
Hi Ryan, go ahead.
Hey guys. How are you?
All right.
Hey, I see Mr. the engineer, the water engineer is on Zoom also. Hensworth. I just want to bring up again the concerns with our water and our aquifer. Again, I talked about for a couple of years now. We are actually the only one in Sullivan County that it has an aquifer. The rest is just groundwater, and it is only fed by rain. It's only fed by snow. So we are a major concern. The Neversink River does not feed the aquifer, different bodies of water, and we have to realize that. We're not going against anybody. We're not asking people not to move up here and to come enjoy our beautifully livelihood in the southern Catskill Mountains. We are at the foothills. Our streams are polluted. We can't fish our streams anymore because of the overcapacity of sewage that is dumping into our land. And this year is the first year that they did not stock the Neversink River. They did not stock Michigan River. They did not stock Black Sheldrick River. They did not stock Silver Lake. Sandberg Creek is not a stream anymore. It's not a trout stream. These are the trout capital of the world. And our concerns are, yes, upgrade their systems, but their upgraded systems aren't keeping up with the stream that the speedy permits are allowing. So my stream on my land is completely polluted. It's a body of water that flows to the ocean. It flows, but when in the middle of this summer, it almost went completely dry. And then we have locations that are dumping so much sewage and PFAS and laundry detergents that are horrifying. It's not fair for their children and people's children. It's the future of the world. It's our lakes and our ponds and our streams. You can't go to Michigan Lake in the middle of the summer. Your eyes burn. There's no more otters. There's no more eels. There's a major concern here. Again, the Neversink River is not feeding our water. And we're at the downstream. So now it's becoming a cesspool, and it's not fair. Another concern that we have is the biggest concern we have now is a lot of the locations that these developments are not the engineers are not marking the wetlands. We have firsthand, we have comments from the contractors saying that they don't know why they're even on these properties. Some of these properties are overflowing with water right now because they can't control the springs. They're taking thousands of loads of sand and selling the topsoil and selling the sand out, and now there's nowhere for the water to go back in. And they're seeing problems. Some of these places can't get electric at the moment, so they can't even control the water. They have to bring generators in. So it's a serious issue. We're not against anybody, and everybody has to realize that.
Brian,
Like
thanks a
in life,
lot.
all
Your
humans
time is
are-
up.
I have one more second. I'm timing myself.
Actually,
No, I
you
timed
timed you, Ryan. You're good.
Hey,
Thanks a lot.
Okay, I have Reese. R-E-E-S-E.
Hello. Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Go ahead. What's your last name?
My name's Rhea Wright, and you said this is open to questions, so I just wanted to ask, what is the way the issues are being addressed for water and sewage? The way that it seems it's like you have to put your mask on first before anything else. So I feel like there should be very concerted efforts towards first fixing and helping sustain resources within a community before added infrastructure.
It's actually
So-
public comment. It's not a question.
Oh, I thought you said it's open to questions, so I just wanted to
You
say
can say a question if you want, but they don't, answer questions typically. It's
Okay,
more
that's
public
fine.
comment. If there's something you would like to say, you're more than welcome, and we'll start your 3 minutes now.
Well, I mean, I feel like that was my question, is how is this problem of water and sewage being addressed?
So,
But-
if you want, you can, send, Jen, the supervisor secretary, or myself, the town clerk, an email, and we can pass it on to the board. But this is public comment where you just kind of state what you want to share.
Okay.
All right? But thank you. If you need our email, give us a call tomorrow.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Reese. Anyone else want to speak?
No.
Anyone here from the
No,
public?
now we do.
Okay.
Lara Lamonic?
Okay, sorry, I just wanted to unmute. I just wanted to touch on something that has come up a few times. And it's the issue of discrimination and the issue of telling a certain group of people that their development is not allowed. And I think a lot of the points have brought up a little bit about the public good and how the destruction of water resources hurts everyone across the line. Yet the overbuilding is only helping, if we can say helping, a certain group of people. Now, is this group of people being discriminated against if the zoning rules are not changed? I think we really need to be clear about what people are not supporting, and what people are not supporting is overdevelopment. They're not supporting overdevelopment by a certain group of people. And I think that needs to be made very clear. Nobody cares who is doing the overdevelopment. We just care that there is overdevelopment that is happening, and as a result of this overdevelopment, we're seeing negative consequences, what we call negative externalities that are borne by the rest of the Salt Lake County population, which is about our water resources, the lack of water, and contaminated water. That's it.
Thanks, Lara.
Thank you. Anyone else want to speak? No?
Yep. Toby.
Yeah, it is what it is, right? I think that's exactly what it is. You wanna make it?
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Hi, my name is Toby Magnetico, and I just wanted to take a moment to respond to the effects of overdevelopment in the area. A lifelong Sullivan County resident, I just recently moved to Mountaindale in August of 2023. Upon moving to Mountaindale, that summer, not really a major issue with the smell of sewage, but as the year has gone on, and this past winter, I've noticed a remarkable change in the smell of sewage from my home. And I live I live far enough away from the sewage treatment plant where I should not be able to smell it. So it is a major concern of mine and of my neighbors in this area, and I think it's another indication that we've already reached the threshold of development, and we should take serious action to look toward other solutions that are going to benefit the nature and the just the good things that we do have here. So that's all I had to say. Thank you.
Okay, do you want to make an announcement at this point? Because I don't think people do know.
I mean, I think we're wrapping it up. I don't want to limit anyone's comments.
But you still, if there's people who are just coming on, they might not know, and they're not gonna know that there's a public hearing.
Well, I have no more hands up, so.
Okay.
All right, if no one else wants to speak, I'm gonna go ahead and close the public comment portion of this meeting, and we're gonna move on to our agenda items. So, number one, motion to approve town board minutes dated 1/21/25.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second, all in favor? Aye, motion passes. Number two, motion to approve warrant number 01B25 in the amount of $502,680.02 dated 1/30/2025.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second, all in favor? Aye, motion passes. Number three, motion to approve warrant number 12D24 in the amount of $135,307.20 dated 12/21/2024.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second, all in favor? Aye, motion passes. Number four, motion to accept the resignation of Michael Scuderi in the water department effective 2/7/25.
Motion.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second, all in favor? Aye, motion passes. Number five is a resolution. So what we're doing here is, this is a resolution to amend the Town of Fallsburg noise control law and to set a public hearing for 2/25/25. So I think a year or two ago, the noise ordinance was changed, to make, I guess, some enhancements to it. But in the process, we removed the provision that made loudspeakers unauthorized in the town. So as a result, loudspeakers technically are only not authorized if they're used for commercial purposes, but camps and other entities can use loudspeakers, and that wasn't the intention of what we're looking to do, or what the board was looking to do back then, when you're setting different limits to the noise ordinance. So what we're doing here is just to kind of clean up the local law, the noise ordinance, to include a provision that bans the use of external speakers, loudspeakers, PAs, anything of that sort. So do I have a motion?
Motion. Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
Right, and just for the record, for seeker, this is a type 2 action under 617.5C26. It's a routine or continuing agency administration and management. It doesn't really include a new program, so further seeker review is not required.
Okay, so
It's a type 2 action.
Right, so we're just cleaning up the law, we're not really making
But it
major changes.
still requires public hearing and all the rest.
Okay, hope everyone heard that. All right, so now we can move on to our discussion items tonight. So tonight, first person to present is Jerry Cohen, Treehouse Estates seeking a sewer district extension. Jerry, here?
Yeah.
Jeff, can you just grab the easel behind you?
I can just hold it up.
Are you good?
Let me have this out first.
Hi, Jerry.
It's okay.
I'll share it with
My friend and I can share.
Can you read?
Not really. They'll read it to me. Yes.
Ooh. Knocked out.
Sometimes things work out just right.
Okay, so I work with Tomaso Cheese, I'm the construction project manager. My name is Jerry Cohen. And he's asking to try to get us in the sewer district for Treehouse Estates. You know, it's a small colony, it's about 10 units. It's on 4 acres of corner of Midwood Road and Route 52. And can everybody see this? This is Midwood Road, this is Route 52. So we're right on the corner. And this is an exception to your existing sewer district. And if you look on the green picture that I sent you, that I gave you, this one here, the green one, it shows the exception. The green is actually a sewer district, and the brown is not the sewer district, so you can see the exception. This is the exception, this is your sewer district, this is the exception. Now, Ken Ellsworth explains that it was accepted back when, because it was below the elevation of the sewer manhole. It's at the entrance of New Hope. We're right across from New Hope. So because we were below the elevation, that's why they accepted it. But we were willing to do a pump station if we had to, if we could be accepted into the sewer district. Now, technically, he asked me to ask you,
Jerry, Ken is with us on Zoom.
yeah, I know. How you doing, Ken? He said an out-of-district user may also be an option. So either becoming part of the sewer district or an out-of-district user. So that's what we're going for.
So what is the advantage to being brought into the district? Is there a septic system there now?
Yeah, we have a septic system, and it's a lot of maintenance, it's a lot of work, and it doesn't really work that great. And we're cleaning up the whole place, we're modernizing all the units. We're actually, I have into the building department a proposal for a new fourplex. I tore one down, we had a permit to tear it down, and we're replacing it with a nice fourplex. And we're going to continue to modernize or replace as needed, and make it a nice, nice development. You can't do it without sewer. And it's been there quite a while.
Any questions from the board?
Did I miss anything, Ken?
Ken, why can't we hear you?
Can you hear me?
Yep, now we can.
I think the presentation was accurate. We prepared the plans that he has in front of him and show that the options are there to either extend the district or have them as an outside user. I don't know if we have an official fee for an outside user. That would have to be addressed. We would want easements, if this goes forward, we would want easements along the lines to make sure that if they ended up back to the town, that we had the ability to maintain them. We want them to, if they're going to do this, at least initially, it needs to be their system, and their pump station and their line, which they would be required to do maintenance on. We would pick it up at the last manhole number 38. There is capacity at the Loch Sheldrake treatment plant at this time, so that is acceptable now.
So Ken, I remember we had a discussion in the past about not granting sewer and water district extensions because once we do, they are forever in the district and we have to provide services no matter what. So I think I guess the question for me is that we currently have capacity in Loch Sheldrake, but if we take all of the properties that are currently in the sewer district and we, apply the zoning as it's currently written to allow them to build to the maximum allowed, is there more than enough capacity to handle everyone that's currently in the district that builds out to a maximum? Because if we don't, then we'd be stuck having to build a new sewer plant, to allow all of our out-of-district users. And if we do, then we have capacity, then maybe it would make sense to extend the district. So, is there analysis being done of all the developments that are currently in the works? And, even if they're not in the works, if they're currently in the sewer district, then we are legally required to provide services to them. So, is there a calculation as to if they take all those properties and allow them to build as a matter of right, according to our current zoning, will we still have more than enough capacity to handle sewer district extensions?
I mean, I think that's an accurate question, Supervisor. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but it's my opinion that if you look at all the properties that are undeveloped in the district, and they were to develop, you would not have sufficient capacity at Block Sheldrake's plant. You'd have to do an expansion. So when this discussion came up before, it was looked at like not to extend the district, but to, if we were going to grant support to this, they would be an outside user, and then at some point in the future, worst case scenario, they would have to do something else because they're an outside user. And that's more of a legal issue, but you have to take care of the people that are within the districts of the property that is within the district.
So you're saying that we could include them as an out-of-district user now if we have capacity, but if we ever run out of capacity, we'd have to have a conversation about disconnecting them from our system and making them do something else at a later point. Won't they be, I guess, vested and maybe entitled to that capacity, or are we free and clear to disconnect them in the future?
Yeah, and I don't know if Rich was prepared to respond to this, but that's the problem that I see coming if we do outside users. We have outside users now, but we have to be cautious as to how we either expand or allow them in, and what happens if we do get to a capacity issue.
Well, I would say that because we were originally cut out of the district because of the elevation, we would have been included in the district had it not been for the elevation. So I think it's a fair request to go back into the district or to be an extended user because of that situation.
Okay. So, I mean, we already.
And we would pay for the, for the hookup, we would pay for the pump station and to dig the line, get the easements, all that. And we would maintain it.
So he's saying that if you're, so you'd put in the connection points
Right.
hooking into the system.
Right, and also, we're only a 4-acre piece, so we're not gonna be a big development.
And are you?
There's no threat of us becoming huge development.
And if we were to grant you an out-of-district user, and then years down the line, we run out of capacity and we have to disconnect you from the system, would you be able to develop contingency plans in case that?
There is no contingency plan for that.
Ken,
I mean, in all fairness, you're gonna run out of capacity no matter what. So that's not even if that's the basis, then there's no sense in asking.
Ken, what percentage of the plant are we currently using, Block Sheldrake?
We have about 30% left.
And that's before the current developments are, is this after we factor in developments, or is this?
That is with all the developments that have received approval from the planning board. It does not include developments that are in the planning board process.
Right, nor does it include those that are in the district and haven't used their, their option to build yet as a matter of right.
Is that right?
Okay.
Yeah, we also only have about 10 units, and we couldn't even add more than, 2 or 3 more units, so we're not gonna be a big development. We would appreciate any consideration.
Okay. Anyone has any other questions? I think we have a lot to consider.
Okay, I appreciate the consideration.
All right.
Thank you.
Right. Next up, Amanda Ward requests to honor her father, Roland Gator Ward. Step on up.
Yes, so my mom and my daughter are here, so I'm not gonna ask my mom to stand up, but I just wanna recognize her here in the room. And my daughter, so can you come up with me? So first I wanna say thank you so much, I really appreciate this and you having us here tonight and putting this on the agenda as an agenda item for discussion. I think before getting started, I am so proud to be a Black woman. So, and I'm proud for my daughter to be, you know, a young Black girl. And so I think it's Black History Month, #1. And so I don't ever want to, there's nothing wrong with seeing me as a Black woman. So I just think that that's important to share. There's nothing wrong with that, and there's no harm, and that's part of who I am. And I'm proud to be a Black woman. So I know that it was addressed earlier, but and the sentiment behind, right, not seeing color, I appreciate, right, like the sentiment behind that, but I'm proud to be a Black woman. This just happens to be what I am. I don't hide from it, and I want my daughter to be proud of that as well, especially given the fact that we're in Black History Month. So, thank you. So my family and I come before you today to request the co-naming, right? So this isn't, I know earlier, and I think this is confusing for everyone, it's not a renaming. It's a co-naming, which is a commemoration, a way to celebrate someone. And this is something that's done everywhere. And I think it only enriches communities. So it's a co-naming of a street in honor of a man whose life was dedicated to the well-being, protection, and empowerment of this community. Roland the Gator Ward. His legacy extends far beyond his work in law enforcement. It is one of unwavering service to the people of Sullivan County. A life that has touched countless others in deeply meaningful ways. Roland served our community for 42 years as a protector, a mentor, and a beacon of hope for those in need. His career began in the heart of our town, where he first dedicated himself to the safety of our children, our families, and our community. From there, he went on to become the first African-American lieutenant at the Sullivan County Sheriff's Office. His work wasn't just about enforcing the law, it was about protecting the most vulnerable members of our community, our children, our elders, our families, safeguarding the very foundation of this county. Roland's service didn't stop at his role as an officer. As a small business owner, he gave many people the opportunity to rebuild their lives, providing them with training, a trade, and a new start. I have to stop and tell you, there were so many times I would come home from college and I was like, who's that living at the house? Who's staying on the property? And it was because my father was helping someone who had fallen on hard times. And if many of you know my father, you knew he was just that type of person. I literally get choked up thinking about it. He's been gone 2 years, but he's still right here with me. He was a lifeline to those who had lost their way, offering hope and helping them to see the potential others may have overlooked. He served on the Assessors Review Board, the Human Rights Commission, and volunteered with local churches where he supported the spiritual and personal growth of the community. Roland's generosity extended beyond his personal contributions. He was widely known for opening his home to those who needed a place to stay, a hot meal, or just someone to listen. He welcomed everyone in, offering shelter and support to those in difficult times. Roland didn't just provide a roof over people's heads, he gave them the opportunity to rebuild their lives, showing that one person's generosity can spark real lasting change. Honoring individuals with street designations is a long-standing tradition in our community, one that recognizes those who have made significant contributions. My father's legacy and service, particularly his work in what we consider the center of town, makes it only fitting that his name be memorialized in this way. We are deeply grateful that this request is even being considered for discussion, especially in the spirit of Black History Month. This moment is not only significant for our family, but for the broader community, as it provides an opportunity to recognize and celebrate the contributions of a man who shaped this county in profound ways. It is a momentous occasion that speaks to the importance of honoring those whose actions have had lasting impact on our shared history. It's important to note that my father's legacy isn't about uniting our community, is about uniting our community, not dividing it. He was a trailblazer, breaking barriers as the first African-American lieutenant and helping to shape this county into the diverse, inclusive community it is today. His name on the street is a tribute to his service, heart, and the impact he had on all of us, regardless of race, background, or station in life. I encourage you to view this as an opportunity for us to come together, collaborate, and decide on the design and the color of the sign commemorating in this community. The more people pass by, the more people will learn about the extraordinary things Roland did for this county and town. It's not just a sign, it's a daily reminder of the power of selfless service, of lifting up those in need, and of the lasting impact one person can have on an entire community. Co-naming the street will be the lasting symbol of his life's work, a beacon of hope and inspiration for future generations. It will stand as a reminder that no matter the obstacles, anyone through determination, kindness, and service can leave a legacy that will endure. In the spirit of Roland the Gator Ward, let us come together as a community, set aside personal differences, and honor a man who was not only dedicated as a neighbor, but also a tireless protector. He kept our family safe for decades and made a lasting impact on the county's history. I just want to thank you all so much for giving me the opportunity. Right? Like all of us, we've got fathers, mothers, and I would do anything in the memory of my father, absolutely anything. And I want to teach that to my daughter as well. It may be uncomfortable to come up here and take a chance, even if people don't agree, or even see my father as half the man that I thought he was, but it's important for me to show my daughter that everyone has a voice and our voice should be heard. So I know she's got a couple words to say. I'm sure she's a little nervous.
Hello, my name is Gabriela Almonte, and I'm speaking today to honor my grandfather, Roland the Gator Ward. He spent his life protecting and helping our community in ways that went beyond just his job. He has always made sure people were safe, cared for, and had a second chance when they needed it most. My grandpa was more than just a hero to our family.
Hang up your phone.
He was a hero to everyone in this town. Co-naming a street after him would be just a way for us to remember all the lives he touched and the differences he made. I know it would mean so much to him and to all of us to see his name honored in this way. So thank you for hearing us both out.
And I am sitting here, I just want to tell you, there's things you don't know about Roland. With the Hasidic community, I could always see a rabbi in the backyard coming to ask Roland for something, or him quelling a fight between two neighbors, one Russian, one not Russian. He didn't speak Russian, and he had this southern drawl I could barely understand at that time, because I'm not southern. But he managed to handle some of the most delicate fights between two groups, and I don't know how he did it. I just know he did it. He cared so much for people, regardless of their religion, the color, regardless of anything. He supported everyone. No one could say a bad word. He would come home with food for me that I would eat. He was Southern. He would come home with food from the communities that he was in. And challah. I had more challah and Sabbath than I knew what to do with. But he was very involved in ways with people that I got stuck living in Sullivan County. And I'm stuck now, 40 years. I come from a sunny island. And here I am in sunny, snowy, wonderful South Fallsburg because it grew on me almost like a fungus. I can't believe it. You're very welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I know you guys have a lot to think about, and I hope that you're going to get back to me and sort of, and again, thank you for all the support.
We're still in a meeting.
Yeah, it's still public, it's still a board discussion. sounds like your father was quite an amazing resident of this town. Definitely all the public support and everything. But the question here is, what is the best way to honor him?
Certainly.
So,
We understand.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Yes.
whatever you guys determine, I'd like you to just kind of
we
think.
have, and we have a lot of options, whether it's a plaque, a bench, co-naming,
Yeah.
wall of, I think someone on our board brought up the idea of a wall of distinction, which sounds very, very interesting.
Awesome. I love
So,
it.
but I think there's some movement to be able to do something nice for your
Certainly.
father.
Certainly. And I thank you. I think that's even enough. You know,
So I
to
think,
start the conversation. So thank you so much, all of you. You've got hard jobs, so I appreciate it.
so we'll
To be continued.
to be continued,
Yeah.
let's discuss it and
Certainly.
hopefully we can find something that will do him justice.
Thank you so much. We will not be rude, but I'm going to at least let Mom get up and get some water because she's thirsty with the mask on.
Well, that's the last item on our agenda tonight. At this point, I will entertain a motion to adjourn, executive session if we have it, I don't know. Nope, so,
I have one quick contract thing.
is the contract released?
Yes.
All right.
So, do you want to say it twice?
So, all right, so I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session to discuss contracts.
Motion.
I have a motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. We don't anticipate any further business after executive session. I'd like to thank everybody for coming out tonight, and with that, we are adjourned.
Putting that down pretty hard.
Sorry. At least everyone knows.
You're a true inspiration. You're a true inspiration. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It goes both ways.